Welcome to the Sad Crime Channel. Today we will be discussing a tragic event that occurred on October 9th, 2020 in Dallas, Texas. This is the heartbreaking story of the murder of Jamie Faith. Jamie and his wife Jennifer were living a quiet life when an unexpected and violent turn of events forever changed their world. Let's delve into the details of what happened that fateful day. Jamie and Jennifer met under unusual circumstances. They went on a blind date and immediately felt a strong connection. That evening, they talked for hours, unable to believe how much they had in common. Jennifer hoped that this time she had finally found the love of her life, someone with whom she could truly feel at ease. She had a turbulent past, having gone through 2 marriages. Her first husband did not want children, so when Jennifer became pregnant, he left her, telling her to manage on her own. However, she refused to give up. She completed her studies, which would allow her to secure a good job in the future, and then welcomed her daughter, Amber, into the world, a child who quickly became the center of her universe. Soon after, Jennifer married again, but this relationship also did not withstand the test of time. When Jamie came into the picture, everyone claimed that the two were made for each other. From the start, Jamie made it clear that he was serious about both Jennifer and her 8-year-old daughter. Jennifer felt that, this time, happiness had truly found its way to her. In 2012, she said her vows during a whirlwind wedding ceremony in Las Vegas. Jamie won the heart of Jennifer's daughter as well. Amber called him Dad, and one day she directly asked him to adopt her. Jamie didn't need any persuasion. He treated the girl as his own daughter, showering her with love, which he expressed at every possible opportunity. Family and friends couldn't stop singing Jamie's praises. They could clearly see how happy the 3 of them were. After years of hardship, Jennifer had finally found the right partner, someone who allowed her to thrive. Jamie, for his part, often shared that before meeting Jennifer, he thought he would remain single for the rest of his life. The family lived in Oak Cliff, a peaceful suburb of Dallas, Texas, in a house with a garden and a pool. Jennifer worked as a receptionist at a clinic, while Jamie was an IT specialist at American Airlines. Their favorite pastimes included spending time with friends, going on sightseeing trips, and taking long walks with their dog. On October 9th, 2020, the Faiths celebrated their 15th wedding anniversary. The following morning, they woke up early for a long walk with their Bernese mountain dog, Maggie. The surroundings were peaceful, and the weather was so nice that Jamie left the house dressed in just jeans and a black t-shirt. Suddenly, the peaceful scene was shattered. A masked figure appeared before them, holding a gun. Without saying a word, the attacker fired 9 shots at Jamie. 7 of those shots hit their target, 3 in the head, 3 in the chest, and 1 in the groin. Jamie collapsed to the ground, and Jennifer began screaming hysterically. Her hysterical wailing alerted several neighbors. One neighbor recalled, "I walked to the end of my walkway, and I saw what looked like feet and a body lying in the street." Another neighbor described hearing a woman scream, almost like begging for her life, prompting her to immediately call 911. People rushed out of their homes to see what had happened. Meanwhile, just a few meters away, a true tragedy was unfolding. After shooting Jamie, the attacker turned on Jennifer. He struck her, knocking her to the ground. Then, he bound her hands with duct tape and removed her rings from her fingers, including Jamie's wedding band. Afterward, he jumped into a nearby parked black pickup truck and drove off. When the police and paramedics arrived at the scene, there was little they could do for 49-year-old Jamie. He was already gone. Jennifer, overwhelmed by the shock, was spiraling into hysteria. Neighbors tried to console her, though they too were struggling to comprehend the unimaginable tragedy that had just occurred. Oak Cliff was a peaceful neighborhood of single-family homes, where everyone knew each other. A crime this horrific simply didn't fit with the character of the place.
This person shoot and shoot. I couldn't believe, I didn't know, why? His body was going like this on the street, and then I saw.
Was your husband like this? Did your husband say anything to him?
No, I don't know. I think I was yelling no. I think he did the same thing. It just seemed quiet. That's all I remember are the shots.
And several shots?
Well, a lot of shots. 5, 6 maybe, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kept going. And I couldn't stop it. The shot and my husband's expression.
You said your husband's facial expression?
Just like the light God. And he just grabbed. And so I was like, the shot. And then I saw him turn and like just dark eyes and coming toward me. And so I yelled no, and I had the dog, and I started to run, and he tackled me to the ground, and I stopped, ran.
Despite her distressed state, Jennifer was taken to the police station. In the available footage from her interrogation, she is seen breaking down, her tears flowing uncontrollably as she tries to explain what had happened. Between sobs, she describes how, during their walk, they were suddenly confronted by a masked man, likely of Latino descent, with brown eyes and a gun in his hand. Then, the shots rang out. After analysing Jennifer's statements, the police concluded that the crime was likely personal in nature. The attacker had acted with premeditation and in an organised manner. First, he shot the victim, and then he tried to mislead investigators by staging a robbery. But who could possibly want to harm such an ordinary, unremarkable man who lived a simple life and had no known enemies? Jennifer described the assailant as a well-built man with a piercing gaze. He was wearing a surgical mask and a black hoodie. A similar description was provided by one of the neighbours. The man was driving a black Nissan Titan pickup truck with a T-shaped sticker on the rear window. Jennifer became a regular guest on various television programs, tearfully pleading for anyone with information to come forward and help solve the mystery of who murdered her beloved husband, the most important person in her life. The private organisation Crime Stoppers offered a reward of $25,000 for anyone who could identify the killer. Jennifer tried to cope with her loss, but as a single mother with a low-paying job, she couldn't afford the costs of her husband's funeral on her own. She set up an online fundraiser, which managed to raise $60,000. Everyone wanted to help the widow, who had suddenly found herself without a means of support. Neighbours took turns checking in on her, making sure she had food and someone to talk to. With no clear leads, investigators called her in for another round of questioning. They also requested access to her phone, to which Jennifer agreed without hesitation. After analysing her messages, they discovered that she had been having an intimate relationship with a man named Darren. 49-year-old Darren Lopez lived on the far remote outskirts of Nashville, about a 10-hour drive from Dallas. He owned a black Nissan Titan with a T-shaped sticker on the rear window, and he was well acquainted with Jennifer. The couple first met in elementary school and dated for several years. But when Darren decided to join the military, Jennifer realized she didn't want to continue the relationship. Lopez was deployed to Korea and also served in Iraq. During one of his missions, he was severely injured in the head and developed post-traumatic stress disorder. Despite this, he tried to lead a normal life. He married and had 4 daughters. The end of his marriage in 2018 coupled with his discharge from the military, caused a dramatic decline in his mental health. Wanting to avoid sinking into loneliness, Darren began reconnecting with old acquaintances. In March 2020, he reached out to Jennifer. The two started exchanging emails, which quickly became emotionally charged. Darren claimed that throughout the years, he had often thought about Jennifer, and the memories of their time together helped him survive on the battlefield. Jennifer responded with similar confessions. She told him she too hadn't been able to forget their youthful love. She shared the personal struggles that weighed on her and spoke of the deep longing she had felt all this time. She sent him photos. What began as a casual exchange soon blossomed into a full-fledged affair. Faith referred to Lopez as her soulmate, assuring him that no one understood her the way he did. As time passed, Jennifer's emails grew increasingly unsettling. She complained about marital problems, claiming her husband was beating her, exploiting her, and abusing her. To back up her words, she sent photos showing bruises and scratches. Darren was enraged. He couldn't stand the thought that his beloved had to endure such torment. What he didn't realize was that it was all a lie. Jamie had never laid a hand on his family, never even raised his voice. Jennifer had fabricated the entire story to manipulate her lover. The photos documenting abuse had been taken from the internet. She created a false image of an abused wife to achieve her own goals.
I just hope that at some point, maybe this person can recognize the gravity of what they've done.
She intensified her toxic narrative by sending gifts and money, which allowed Darren to cover the costs of his divorce. But she didn't stop there. Jennifer created a fake email account and sent disturbing messages to her lover. "I know about your affair with Jennifer. If you don't leave her, I will hurt her even more," the message read. Manipulated for months, Lopez finally believed he was the only one who could rescue the terrorized woman. On October 8, 2020, while the Faiths were celebrating their 15th wedding anniversary, he traveled to Dallas. He spent the night in an abandoned house near their home, waiting for the right moment to act. Jennifer was, of course, fully aware of everything. The murder had been planned long ago. On October 9th, at 7:30 a.m., she went for a routine walk with her husband and their dog. Then, everything unfolded swiftly, exactly according to the plan. In the days and weeks following the murder, she flawlessly played the role of the heartbroken wife. In reality, she didn't feel sadness at all. On the contrary, she was finally free. A month after the tragedy, she filed a claim for $629,000 from Jamie's life insurance policy. She also sought to cash out his private retirement insurance. Thanks to her online fundraising, she lived a comfortable life, indulging in expensive shopping sprees and even giving some of the money to Darren to help him pay off his credit card debt. On January 11, 2021, Darren Lopez was arrested on charges of first-degree murder. He denied any involvement. A surgical mask was found in his car, and a weapon with traces of Jamie's blood was discovered in his apartment, along with credit cards issued in Jennifer's name. Jennifer herself claimed that Darren was merely an acquaintance and stopped providing further testimony. Privately, she tried to contact him through a friend, assuring him that she would always stand by his side. A month later, her assurances became true. In February 2021, Mrs. Faith was also arrested on charges of orchestrating the murder and obstructing justice. She faced the death penalty. After considering all the pros and cons, she eventually changed her mind and confessed to the crime. As part of a plea deal with the prosecutor, she was sentenced to life imprisonment. During the reading of the verdict, the judge referred to her as pure evil. Darren received a more lenient sentence, 62 years in prison.
I did not want Jamie to suffer. Even though, in my eyes, he was a monster, I did not want him to suffer. So I approached and I fired the rounds into his head. I was devastated. took an innocent life. I promised myself if I was ever in a position to help somebody that I cared for and loved, I would do it.
So you're the victim here, Mr. Lopez, is that what you're saying?
No, ma'am. I was duped in there, part of it, but I'm not gonna say I'm just a total victim. No, ma'am. That would be disrespectful to Mr. Faith.
Jurors also heard from a doctor brought in by the defense team to evaluate Lopez. He discussed Lopez's brain injuries and PTSD stemming from his time in the military, which could impair his perception and processing.
This became the center of his being, and it was, as he had said, is a mission, survival mission, eliminate the threat. And that perception of threat is impaired in this case.
Jennifer Faith's daughter Amber was 18 years old at the time of her mother's arrest in February 2021. Following Jennifer's conviction and sentencing to life in prison, there has been no public information regarding Amber's current relationship with her mother. Given the nature of the crime and its impact on their family, it is likely that Amber has chosen to distance herself from Jennifer. Amber was legally adopted by Jamie Faith when she turned 18 and had a close relationship. In the wake of a senseless tragedy, Jamie Faith's life was cut short, but his memory endures. A loving husband, a devoted father, and a cherished member of his community, Jamie touched the lives of many with his kindness and dedication. While his untimely death left a void, the love he gave to his family and the way he lived his life continue to serve as a reminder of the importance of compassion and strength in the face of adversity. Jamie's legacy lives on in the hearts of those who knew him, and his memory will never be forgotten. Thank you for listening, and until the next episode,